Acting Governor, you may begin.
All right, Hafaday, and good morning. The time is 11:04 a.m. and the Islandwide Beautification Task Force meeting will now convene. I want to recognize our Vice Chair, Mayor Robert Hoffman, Stephanie Flores, the Minister of the Clearinghouse, from the Bureau of Statistics and Plans, Stephen Dierking, from Guam Environmental Protection Agency, Nick Rupley Lee, and from the Office of Homelessness and Poverty Assistance. We have Robson Augustine. We also have some guests and IBTF and other Government of Guam staff. So we'll go ahead and start. And first up will be Steve Dierking to give us sort of a recap of course, the 30th year that there has been a coastal cleanup. Very remarkable. Stephen?
Yes, thank you, Acting Governor. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me here. And as you just said, we celebrated the 30th anniversary of the International Coastal Cleanup on September 21st. And we want to thank, of course, the Office of the Governor, Lieutenant Governor, your Island Beautification Task Force for all your support. And we also want to thank you and Governor Liu for the proclamation presentation that really exemplified and showcased the hard work that has been done to keep this cleanup event going every year, and especially in recognizing the hard work and generosity of all the site leaders. And we really couldn't do this without them. And we want to thank our community organizations, our schools, our businesses for volunteering for this great event every year. So just to give you some brief stats, we had over 2,500 volunteers. We had over 25 cleanup sites, all the way from Tauragi Beach to Retidian, from Melesu, Iran, from Matek, and all the shores, the western shores, to Agana and Tumon. And so we collected over 10 tons of trash. It's 20,000 pounds of trash collected and about 29 miles of shoreline cleaned. So the top items collected, nutshell, beverage cans, number one. Thousands of beverage cans collected. Cigarette butts, number two. And of course, plastic and foam pieces. And so beverage cans has been basically the number one item that's always been picked up every year. So that's something to think about. And it was a huge success, and in celebration of reaching the milestone, we just wanted to put together an event called Guam Sandfest. And this was organized really to raise public awareness about environmental issues such as beach litter, shoreline erosion, and the importance of green infrastructure. So it was a great event. We had over 24 vendors, including food trucks, nonprofit organizations. We had game there, the Guam Girl Scouts, Guam Sustainable Culture, dozens of organizations and government agencies like the Department of Agriculture. Their whole team was there. So it was really a sand sculpting competition, and we want to recognize our winners, GCC Digital Arts. We have Souls in second place and Matson in third, and especially our sculptors that came in, Albert and Wade from Washington State and Texas, and all the numerous sponsors that made this possible, and of course, our event organizer, Aztec. But it was a great event, and thank you for joining us, Acting Gov. We really appreciate that, and for your resolution presentation, your proclamation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any questions for Stephen from anybody? Thank you. Very good work, Stephen. Thank you very much. Moving on, we'll move on to Stephanie, update on the community improvement projects.
Yes, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. So I just wanted to give you a brief update on the status of our projects, primarily our gym projects. So Ganya Heights Gym and baseball field, those projects are completed. The facilities are open and being used. Tamuning Gym is at the 99% mark. We have one last item on the punch list that was on back order. My understanding is that's being installed, and we should be able to do the full opening of that reopening of that gym very quickly. In Dededo, we had our newest open air gym. That has been completed. It's open and it's in full swing with nice community response. We also did a renovation of the skate park with a new mural that was completed. We had a nice event there as well. For Melezo, the open air gym is completed, up and running, and the community is using that one. The Barrigada open air gym by the mayor's office is at about 90% completion. So we did have some issues with drainage, which delayed them a little bit. That's being addressed, and we should be able to open that gym pretty quickly. Mangilao open air gym is also at about 85 to 90% completed, and the baseball field, the Bill Muñoz field, is also being renovated and that's well underway. We anticipate that both of those projects will be completed before the end of this calendar year. Basketball is art. We completed 16 courts across the island. And we added in there the Dededo skate park as one of the basketball is art projects. I'd like to report that out of all of those projects that we completed, only 2 were vandalized. All the other communities have maintained their courts and other facilities very well. So we do have 2. Unfortunately, those are both in Dededo. The skate park was one of them, and the Estumba outdoor court was the other that have both been vandalized. Upcoming projects, we have 6 to 7 more open air gymnasiums that we are going to be working on throughout the island. And so this is part of a very aggressive approach by the administration to increase recreational opportunities throughout the island. And so those communities that we are working on right now are MTM, PD, Santa Rita, Inalahan, Pumatec, and then there are also a couple of others that we're working on the mapping and making sure that all of the other issues, the technical issues that go along with doing these open air gyms are handled.
Sinahanya style gym.
The Sinahanya style gym, yes. So that has proved to be very popular, very versatile, and it's also much cheaper than doing a fully enclosed gym. But also just so that the community is aware, the Hoggett gym, the Talapopo gym, Jigo gym, and Jotnya gym are also slated for some hardening and improvements so that they can be used as tier 2 shelters eventually, as well as Agana Heights is also being evaluated for that same purpose. So those are some significant projects that are coming up that we wanted to put on everybody's radar screen. I wanted to move on to adopted bus stops. So we have 31 bus stops that were adopted in 2024. We have a few that are pending coordination with mayors. So if anybody is interested in adopting a bus stop, you can contact our office, either calling us at 473-1157-62 or emailing us at ibtf@guam.gov. Then we move on to the Chamorro Village rehabilitation. So we put in for 2 phases for the rehabilitation of the Chamorro Village itself. And we were able to receive funding from both Department of Interior and United States Treasury for capital improvement projects. Those projects, phase 1 and phase 2, are in the NEPA process right now, meaning it's going through the federal review for permitting and due diligence work and design. And so those are well underway. One of the last issues that we had from our last meeting was Plaza De Espana. There was some residual work from the typhoon from last year. Those issues were addressed prior to liberation. We want to thank DPR, DPW, and Department of Agriculture for assisting in removing those stumps and the other hazards in the area to make the park a little safer.
Yeah, but there needs to be some, I think I've been getting feedback from the old, from mayors and others that they're really not satisfied with how Plaza de Espana looks right now. And
Yes.
so hopefully the legislature, of course, is the custodian of the property. And we're interested in, of course, supporting efforts to make sure that those facilities are proper and presentable for the people of Guam and, of course, for our visitors. But I think that that needs to be said about that plaza. All right. Anything else for you, Stephanie?
No, that's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Next, we will go to, why don't I just go a little out of order, if that's okay? And I'm going to move to our community spotlight. And I see Rico Medina from Imminent Unlimited Fiesta 6. I want to recognize him. We have been, of course, there's been lots of need and desire from the community for adequate areas for folks that are into motorsports and motor vehicles to be able to continue on with that culture and lifestyle. But there's also been some safety issues in the past, and I just want to recognize that Rhico has been in partnership with DPR to come up with safe alternatives and safe spaces for our people. And so to talk about that and some other visions from Fiesta 6 and to talk about their events, it's my privilege to recognize Rico Medina. Rico?
Good day, everybody. First of all, thank you for welcoming me into this meeting. I'm very excited to be able to meet everybody, hopefully in person in the near future. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for giving me this opportunity to be able to work with the communities and kind of help the communities flourish in a more safe and secured manner. As the Lieutenant Governor has mentioned, I work with a company called Imminent Unlimited, which is a marketing firm. And we've been hosting fiestas since the year 2021. And it's kind of a motive behind it is to kind of push the safety and security while intertwining many different walks of lifestyle. So from skateboarding to breakdancing to live music, and now the car culture, it's something that we've been successful in weaving together. And as we move forward after Fiesta 5, we decided, what if we work towards a program to bring the safety and interest back to the capital, meaning Paseo. And, when I landed here in Guam, 2019, 2020, there's so much going on in Paseo, and I just didn't feel safe bringing my family there. And so with me having little ones, the future is definitely a focus. And I'm trying to build towards having a safer options and other safer spaces for my children to be able to express themselves. And so I put a team together, and we've been hosting car meets on a monthly basis. So every last Saturday of the month, we have a car meet over at Paseo, in which we bring 2 or 3 different food trucks. And this is a way for us to kind of facilitate the car meet aspect while ensuring that we set ground rules and full participation from the community. So it's been very successful. We've experienced huge turnouts in these events. And we actually have one coming up here on the 26th, which is October. And we are trying to run parallel with the Halloween theme. So we're doing the trunk or treat, working alongside with DPR. I met with them yesterday, Lieutenant Kin, and we were able to set up the specifics as far as how to safely render this event while having pedestrians and children just walking around the loop and collecting candy from different government agencies, as well as different car crews who have volunteered to participate in this effort. So this event will take place on Saturday the 26th. It'll be from 6 to 9 p.m. I am working closely with DPR to kind of line up the different agencies that want to contribute. That way we can set everything up and ensure that the entire park in itself has the safety and security that it needs. The only issue we have is, we're running parallel with another event, which is the concert over at Deep Beach. So DPR is going to do their best to kind of provide as much support as they can. But the end goal is to symbolize Paseo as a safe place for all families to be able to attend or to be able to walk through, to be able to partake in. And we're going to try to accomplish this by doing more events, not just, exclusively with the car scene, but we also do basketball events, basketball tournaments, stuff like that. And my end goal is to just make Paseo safe again. So with DPR's support, I assume that we're heading in the right direction. And I sure hope that in the future we can flourish to be able to do more of these programs at other parks around the island.
Very good. Okay, does anybody have any questions for Rico? Excellent. Well, Rico, thank you very much for this partnership that we have. We're looking forward to continuing to support efforts that establish safe places for people to have fun on this island, especially for families. So thank you very much. And with that, we'll go back onto our agenda and we'll go on to, I guess, Dr. Austin Shelton and the Guam Green Growth. Dr. Shelton, there you are.
Is that working? Okay, sorry about that. 1 second. Sorry, Governor, I'm having some computer issues here. But
want me to come back to you?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
So the main update we have for the Island Beautification Task Force today is that we recently had our Guam Green Growth biannual meeting last week, Monday, held at the Dusitani, and this is our meeting where we invite the whole working group of over 100 members representing all sectors of our society, working on our G3 action framework plan that is our guide toward a sustainable future. So we had good representation from all the different groups, and we were able to adjust pieces of our action framework and get some important updates as we're moving forward, and also looking for new opportunities in funding. So, for example, we are currently writing a $15 to $16 million US EPA community change grant to move some of our workforce development in the green economy efforts forward for more conservation cores, and also expanding our makerspace footprint, because eventually as we create new green industries, taking trash and turning it into cash will need larger space like a proper warehouse. And so we're putting those ideas and trying to move them forward in our new proposals. Also working with partners such as the Guahan Sustainable Culture nonprofit to expand composting around the island, and just a few more ideas such as those. The other update that we have for this past month is that we had Sustainable September activities. So we had an exhibit that was installed at the DFST Galleria in partnership with that group. It's an art exhibit featuring recycled materials and all of our native flora. So many endangered and local species of flowers and plants that it makes a really great exhibit. I invite you to go see it before the end of October. It'll still be up there in Tumon. Another update is that tied to the biannual meeting, we had some of our final, like our finale projects of the Governor's Education Assistance and Youth Empowerment Grant. We had a few workshops on different topics to bring educational materials out into the community. These included Zoamti, our traditional healing, Guam aquaculture and aquaponics, sustainable fisheries. We also had circular economy hands-on workshops, and we're also going to be creating a whole series of online courses in sustainability that we'll be able to use through the University of Guam platform to get more of this learning out into wider audiences on online platforms. So that's our main updates that we have from Guam Green Growth. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you very much, Austin. By the way, I saw you. Did you guys just do a big tree planting exercise the other day?
Yes, I think in record time we had about 75 volunteers planted 1,600 trees in half an hour.
Where did you guys do it? Was it at Manel or Ugam?
No, this one is in our Ugam watershed site, and we have another one on I think it's November 5th, one of the first Saturdays of November. We still have to finish planting at least 5,000 trees this rainy season. So we'll keep moving that forward. Oh, and we have some really cool preliminary data on that. We have an economic valuation project that is funded by NOAA Pacific RISA Partners at the East-West Center in Hawaii. And so just to give you an example of the economic impact that our Guam Green Growth Conservation Corps is doing. So just that small group planted about 5,000 trees in the past couple of years. And we're able to put an economic value on 5,000 trees, about $2 million to our local economy, and all the benefits that it has in reducing soil erosion, reducing impacts on our coral reefs and our freshwater supply, like at the Ugam water plant and so forth. So we're going to get some really good economic impact numbers coming out of all of these activities for Guam Green Growth and for climate action.
I wanted to just hold on to one note, and maybe get Chelsea's input on this one. But last week, I think it was, or within the last week or a few days, the people of Guam were given sort of like a notice it was like a warning that we're anticipating coral bleaching events in Guam this year. And I wanted to maybe talk to both of you to maybe talk about why exactly that notice came out, or what your understanding of the threat, and if there's anything we can do to kind of mitigate.
Well, the just one brief comment on that is that this time of year we have longer periods of higher temperatures, hot weather. So if that lasts too long, then that's what triggers coral bleaching, which means that the plant cells that live inside the coral animal get expelled, and they're the food source for the coral animal, the main one. So that's what's causing the coral bleaching, and if the temperatures don't die down, and those zooxanthellae, those plant cell organisms, don't come back, then the corals can die off in a short period of time. So the best thing that we can do, since we can't control global temperatures from our small island, is to make sure that we're reducing local environmental stressors. So things like planting trees to reduce soil erosion and the smothering of coral reefs, or reducing stormwater runoff, like having better stormwater management, less impervious surfaces like parking lots. Those are the types of activities that we can do to make sure that our corals are resilient, and that when we have more of these climate impacts like coral bleaching, then they'll be able to bounce back from those impacts.
Yes, absolutely. And then the bleaching occurs when there's at least a 2-degree shift in the water, where the temperature increases by 2 degrees. I believe Guam's average water temperature, based discussions with our coral team, is around 88 degrees. And if there's a 2 degrees increase that's prolonged, then we have coral bleaching. But although we were under the coral bleaching watch at an elevated level, that was changed and reduced because of our rainstorms that have been happening. So an effect of an unintended consequence that's beneficial to us of the rainstorms is that they've been cooling the temperatures in the water. So then Guam was delisted, although the rest of the area in the world really is still on a coral bleach watch. I think at a level 4. Guam was downlisted because of our rainstorms. And another thing that we can do is when we're doing our coral outplanting and our coral nurseries, we're doing them at deeper levels so that they're not exposed. And also, a silver lining in the coral bleaching is being able to determine which coral are heat resistant or heat tolerant. Those can be the ones that we outplant more of.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. All right, next on the agenda is Vince Ariola giving us an update on road improvements and derelict buildings. Vince?
Hoffman, good morning, Governor. Good morning, everyone on the IBTF. Before I begin, actually, it is part of our roadway improvements. I wanted to give a word of caution to our residents and our drivers. With the rainy season and everything, we know everyone's driving slowly and carefully, but the rainy season and then the sun afterwards also leads to higher and faster grass growth. So our crews are out there. They're trimming the grass on the sides of the roads and in the medians. And I'm just asking everyone to please drive with caution. Our crews utilize the typical safety equipment that are out there. They put traffic cones, and unfortunately, I believe it was earlier this week, we had an accident where a driver, a vehicle hit one of our vehicles that was on the tending to the median cutting down in the Sumai area, so that no one was injured. So it's just a word of caution that when you see our crews out there, please drive extra careful because they're doing their job. They're just trying to cut the grass and get out of there as soon as possible. But please drive carefully. So just a word of caution there. with regard to our roadways, one of the things I did want to bring up, Governor, is and we always talk about it, is the abandoned vehicles. We're seeing another increase, a wave, if you will, of more abandoned vehicles on the easements on the sides of our roads, and just for now, because it's certainly a safety hazard. We basically pick them up and we have them staged at our parking lot here in the back at DPW, and we do have our meetings moving forward with abandoned vehicles, but we're seeing an uptick, if you will, of abandoned vehicles on our roadways. Our staff and our crews and our equipment are out there to make sure they're cleared. But there is an abandoned vehicle disposal program that's handled by all the villages in all the mayors. And if the people could just contact your mayor if you have an abandoned vehicle and you need it disposed of, there's money for it. There's a process, at least until we get to the bigger picture of getting the vehicles off island. But to leave it on the side of the road, it really becomes a safety hazard for the rest of the motorists, pedestrians, and bicyclists. So another word of caution to the folks out there. With regard to our derelict building program, we were able to clear, let's see, I think we had 3 areas, one in Jigo, one in Jonia, and one in Tamuning, where we had, unfortunately, we had homeless encampments in 3 separate buildings. And we were able to clear those buildings and have the owners button them up, so to speak, so that there was no homeless encampment within those derelict buildings. So we cited the buildings before, but the owners needed our help to move the homeless out of there. So that's another thing that we see happening is we have derelict buildings, we have abandoned buildings, and once the homeless see them, they see fit to make it their encampment, so to speak. So we're working real closely with that. There are two big hotels down in Tumon that we need to work on. I'll work with GVB on that because I know we cited one of them. I believe this is the old Sheraton. I know we got a hold of the owners, and I believe
The old
was
Sherwood.
cited.
The old
The
Sherwood.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's one, and that's starting to really become a blight in the Tumon district area. So I have to work with the owners and of course with GVB to see what we can do about that building. And then the other one that's smack in the middle of Tumon, and we all know that used to be one of the icons of our tourist area. It's the old Pacific Star Hotel. It's not at the derelict stage, but we need to start having talks with the owner to see exactly what he or she or what they plan to do with that building. It's one of the larger hotels, and I'm sure the owners are trying to figure out what to do with it, but we need to get into conversations with them to make sure it doesn't become derelict. It is abandoned right now, but we need to make sure it doesn't become derelict and see what their future plans are.
Vince, I understand that Roddy's is a growing issue again, that building. In fact, I think the door has been broken down, so that is actively in use. So you might want to, I know that's a property that was cited before.
Yes, that's certainly on our radar, Governor. We just found out we thought the building was empty. Our inspector was just there last week, and there's an entire what he saw was a number of homeless at the very top floor. So we need to do what we did to the other buildings. We'll get them out, and I'm trying to work with the family attorney that owns that building because they're enlisting our help as well we've already declared it a derelict building, but we're going to work with the family to get the whole site encased. I know there was, I think we received at least our employee here, our staff received complaints that people are using it for parking and they wanted to use the parking lot, but our decision is to fence out hard fence the entire building so that folks can't even enter the parking lot area. So we're working with that with the owners of the building.
All right, and then for road, you have some road work in the villages happening right now?
Yes, we are in Agate right now. We're working with the contractor to do quite a number of roads in Agate. They're small roads, but they're all within the village proper. I believe there's about 10, if not 11 roads there. Then we'll be back up to Dededo to finish a long stretch of road there. Then I believe, let's see, we're going to be down south again on the other side, doing a portion of Malolo to the Inarahan village. That's a long stretch. And then a couple other roads in Barrigada. And hopefully we can take care of that before the end of the year.
All right, I know that we're organizing and reviewing requests from mayors and working with the schedule. We've been delayed, I think, because I think the Hawaiian Rock batch plant had some issues, and of course, competing with some of the work that's happening in all the different projects around town. So
and the weather.
Right,
and the weather. Yeah, we were
Right.
really set back by the weather, probably 2, if not 3 weeks.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Vince. Any questions for
Thank you.
Vince, DPW? If not, let's move on to Nick Rupley Lee over at Guam EPA. Nick.
Afternoon. Good morning, Acting Governor and committee members. I have some numbers from the Mayor's Council's Island-wide Environmental Cleanup Program for FY24. So as of October 9th, 1,377 abandoned vehicles were processed and disposed of. That's amounting to just over $780,000 in disposal costs. 730 pieces of white goods, 1,477 junk tires, and 296 pieces of e-waste were also disposed of. A few weeks ago, the remaining $500,000 of the $1.5 million FY24 appropriation out of the RRF to the Mayor's Council was released. It looks like there's work going on. I can see a lot of collection of junk vehicles taking place. As a reminder, invoices have to be submitted sometime in mid-November. I believe possibly at least by November 18th. And as another reminder, if your funding is encumbered or tied to a PO, that funding is not eligible for rollover. So just keep that in mind as you guys are organizing your requisitions for waste removal. Okay, this month during the October 24th regularly scheduled Board of Directors meeting with the agency, we do anticipate on passing a board resolution for the approval of the expenditure and disposal plans for the FY25 $1.5 million appropriation to the Mayor's Council. We look to get that process started as quickly as we have the resolution so that we're saving time on the routing process when it comes for us to execute the MOA with the Mayor's Council. So that's something that Mayor Bob Lezama is working with me on. I know in past FYs there have been delays with the MOA, but we're trying to negate that delay this year. The MOA is in draft form. And the only thing really missing is just the resolution number and the signatures from our administrator and the Mayor's Council of Guam president. So, or I'm sorry, executive director. So that's what we're trying to do with that, just to get the process started quicker. We'll have finalized figures once we receive the invoices, and we can provide you updates on the quantities of the different waste streams that were disposed of as a result of the hardworking mayors and the execution of the IECP. Okay. FY24 litter citation data this fiscal year saw 95 litter citations issued by the agency's solid waste management program. That is a sharp increase when you compare it to FY23, which was around 37. FY22 was around 27. So, in fact, the past 3 FYs didn't even total what we've issued this year. So, complaints come in through the agency's phones or email, or even the violation report page on our agency website. Subject to any questions from the committee, that concludes our report.
Any questions from anybody? Mayor Hoffman.
I know that I don't know if you tuned into the mayor's council, but I know that there were some concerns because what's eating up a lot of our funding is fuel, and we're going to make that request either through the legislature that some of this money be used for fuel, because we're self-delivering the tires and the white goods, and so our fuel jumped. And I've said this before for many years since the recycling revolving fund was given to the mayor's council, is that there's that hidden administrative cost. It costs the mayor's council to do this. It is a very paper-heavy recycling revolving process. The number of copies and the number of, I'm literally, for one card, it's a stack of papers. It's crazy. And we got to figure out how to make it a lot easier and more environmentally friendly for this, because everybody needs their copies and everybody needs this to recertify this. And so we are asking for copier paper. We're going to ask for fuel for this, because a lot, I've said it too, is that I don't want to spend many months of my term as mayor collecting junks and stuff. There really got to be an easier way to do this. I didn't run for office so I can work for EPA. And so that's kind of the, I want to do my job here. And I think people want to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, my stuff's ready to go, come pick it up. That it doesn't involve us, but it involves us doing the assessment, physically tagging it, being there with the contractor, removing anything that falls out, falls away, gets crushed, broken, whatever else like that, collecting that, disposing that on our own outside of this. Angel can attest to this, how much debris is involved in removing a car, because most people, you'll never find a car that's just a car only. You'll find a car with laundry in it and broken furniture, and then we get stuck with that. And everybody's so strict that, we can only take the car. The contractor's very strict, only take the car. Mayors end up eating that, and it goes into our solid waste disposal and all the other things of that. So we really need to revisit that agreement, and we hope we can get the support of EPA not to challenge us or to fight us on this about the administrative cost of this, because you guys get administrative costs. That's what pays Sabrina and everybody else. We don't have any of that. And so we have to stop what we're doing with our clerks and our maintenance, down them to go do this. And so I really feel for some of those areas where, Dededo can use up a PO in 2 days easily, and their work's never going to get finished. And so as long as we have caps, as long as we have limits, like my tires, I'm already on my second PO of tires and I still have more to go. And I just, we had to collect those tires from the jungle and everywhere else. And I'm finally happy that EPA agreed that I'm okay to sign over something, because they would literally give us where did you get this tire? I said, the side of the road. Well, who owns it? I don't know. I found it on the side of the road, but I'm going to write for it. So Robert Hoffman turns in 1,000 tires. It's Robert Hoffman turning, because I found it and I'm cleaning up the Chocolate Riverside and the Agana Spring. So we get the third degree of where did you get this TV? I don't know where it came from. So I'm hoping
you guys need to, I think we talked about this before. Can you guys be open and refresh and refine and make your process, take a look at your process and make it, a bit more refined, so we can,
So work with our new director on that, but I appreciate that getting the support. So we're going to be asking.
Take a look. I think we talked with Michelle about it. Take a look and see what improvements you can make on the process.
Absolutely, sir. I know, we certainly understand the frustrations that the mayors are going through. We appreciate all the support, and as in terms of funding administrative costs, I don't see any reason why the agency will not support that. We value the partnership with the mayors.
Thank you.
All right, take a look at that. Also, Nick, your agency is looking at, I know we've been in the big picture looking at the waste stream and trying to figure out how the private sector can, and private sector enterprise can operate properly to try and help with the waste stream coming from the cars, but of course also the tires. So, but just to bookmark that we have some pending reviews over at EPA with some of the private sector, including on the tire side, to try and get some additional resources up and running.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. We'll go over to DPR. Angel.
Hi, can I speak to Melody, please?
I think she's out for lunch at the moment, sir.
Bob,
Okay,
you
I'll
are
call back.
on. Okay, sorry, Angel.
Am I on?
You certainly are.
Good morning, everyone. Let me first attest to Mayor Hoffman's request, for administrative costs. One of the provisions of the ICAP and the conditions for EPA to approve those invoices is that employees of the mayor's offices have to follow the contractor wherever he goes to pick up these vehicles and show that you pick up that vehicle. So it's true. Fuel costs are not part of the recycling funds, but certainly mayor's offices use up a lot of fuel because every day employees are detailed to make sure they follow whoever's picking up those vehicles. So I support that on that, and I hope Nick will, consider that and make it part of the recycling fund. On my end, I'm seeing a lot of abandoned vehicles now being put on parks and dumped on the side of very close to the parks and bus stops. I don't have any recycling money, and maybe that's one of the things we have to look into, is to also appropriate or allot to DPR a certain funding so that whenever we see the vehicles in the parks or whatever next to bus stops, that we don't have to wait for the mayor, because the mayor is going to tell me, oh, that's your jurisdiction, is not the village's jurisdiction. So they can give us the funding for that. And on the other side of that, we also don't have a place to dispose of it. We don't, like Global or SD. And I heard Vince saying that they're stacking it in the back of DPW right now because they have nowhere else to go. But I don't know if that's going to be an option, if we are given the funds, or we can use our own funds to start towing some of these vehicles and then placing it there and back of DPW. I don't want it to look like another junkyard, but we really don't have any option. I'll give you an example. Worcester Road, we have 6 cars that were put there the day after Gigo picked up the cars that were there. And now they're upside down. I don't know how. Maybe Taga or Gardau came and flipped all these vehicles around, because I don't know who's strong enough to turn those vehicles around. And then, like Mayor Hoffman says, these cars are full of trash. Everything, including the kitchen sink, are in those cars. And that's another work to do, is to take those trash, because the contractor will not accept vehicles with any of this stuff inside. And we also have to take it over to La John or to the transfer station. But yeah, that's beginning to be a very a difficult situation as far as getting these unsightly stuff out of the parks. The other thing that we're looking at is, we are working with Imminent very, very successfully. Those car shows getting bigger every month. And on this, the 26th of this month, we decided to combine our efforts, since we were having a Halloween trick-or-treating around the sale, and they were having the trunk or treat show, that we just combine it and have people. Now we've got people calling that they want to come down, these food trucks. They want to come down and give out free ice cream, free water, and so we're accepting all of them. And plus the joining with the different government of Guam agencies, I think it'll be a very successful event. We're also having that concert over at EPA on that same day, but we get something out of those concerts. We don't, instead of, we barter with them. And in this case, in this group, is they donate us for the same amount of money that we're supposed to charge them. We barter with them and give us something in return, like paint that we need for the pavilions, or get us bush cutters, or prune cutters, and it's working. We're going to get another load of paint for this concert that's coming up, and we're going to start again painting, weather permitting, a lot of these pavilions that that have not been touched in a while. One of my concerns is FEMA. We have these projects that since Mawar, it's already over a year. My problem with FEMA is that every time they send somebody out here new to be our project manager, we have to start the process all over again. And I said, well, why is this? Don't you guys in FEMA communicate and pass on what information you got prior before you come out here? And their answer is, oh, we come from all kinds of regions. We're not just coming from Region 9. We come from way in the East Coast, and sometimes we don't communicate. So this last one that is here, for the projects that we have, like at Nimitz Beach, we have to start the process all over again because they want us to give them information. And we don't have an engineer, mind you. They want us to give us how we're going to do the sub-base or the subgrade under the walkways that have been washed out on the northern end of Nimitz Park. And some of you've probably seen it. Some of those benches and tables are already out in the water. And so they want us to give them again a plan on how we're going to lift that up, put something, and that requires it requires Army Corps of Engineers, so it's going to be a whole different process. And now they're asking us to request for an extension of when we can get these projects going. But my main concern is that every time they come out, they ask us for the same thing we've already provided before. And it just makes the process very slow. On Two Lovers Point, I don't know if your office heard anything, but I finally put my foot down and said, the law says there's only 5 permittees that can have concessions there. For many years, it's been 6. And that's because previous directors just keep on signing the permits and giving them permits. And so this one person that's the 6th individual assumed that since because they've always been getting their permit that they can. We've talked to this guy. We gave him up until September 30th to either move his stuff because we have not permitted him, and we will not permit him because we already have 5, and getting 6 would be just against the law. Well, he kept operating, I think, past September 30th to the first week of October. We finally got our park police up there and say, look, this is the law. Either you move this thing out by tomorrow morning, or we're going to cite you and send this thing to the AG's office. Well, he complied, so that vendor is no longer there. I'm sure he may come and try to see other people to see whether he can get his license or his permit back.
Taking my time at the gym.
The northern complex is going to be the northern. There's my partner there. His foot is all swollen, from standing up and walking around in Alahan Middle School. So I told him stay home. I was in the car.
Yeah,
but
thank
anyway,
you very much. By the way, Warren, you were head of the GovGuam sort on that and did some big help down there. Thank you, Angel, for that.
Yeah,
yes, he did. But now he's paying for it with swollen foot.
Yeah,
but anyway, going to the northern gym. We have a big event there, Warren. I believe this weekend. We've got some basketball teams from around Asia coming in. Governor, if you want to stop by there on this weekend and take a look, it's going to be a big event. But bigger than that is every evening, if you pass by behind the pool, the walkway around the fields, there's hundreds and hundreds of people taking a walk and exercising. And I'm working with GEB to try to get the solar lights up in that facility. We have a few up. I think because of funding restrictions not going over $500,000, so that it doesn't have to go to the AGs. We're on phase two. Phase one is right there, Gov, in your office in the front on the lawn. That should begin very soon and replace all those lights. But I really want to impress upon GVB to, after phase one, to get going on phase two and light up that walkway around the northern complex, because I tell you, lots of people are using it now. Lots of people are also using Paseo. Ever since we put up those lights, you put up those lights around the Paseo Stadium, there's lots of people walking there early in the morning, including the governor, and also in the evening. The other thing that you might be seeing when you drive around are these bollards that are still laying down, either East Agana or West Agana. About a month ago, we had like 4 or 5 rammed into again by somebody on the road, including our coconut trees. The thing is, although we want to remove those bollards, it would give an opportunity for people to start entering the parks onto the grass, and we don't want to do that. So that's our only option, unless we find something else that we can use as a detriment or as a barrier for people from entering the park. We see what happened in Ipao after we remove all those bollards. Now people, every day our park police have to drive over there and try to get them. Now people are being, cooperative, but some that are not. So our park police are also very, very, they don't say, we'll give you a second chance. You either comply or we'll give you a citation. Same thing with the trash that's left back at Ipao or any of our parks. Our park police are really on top of that. They really go and make sure that people that are just leaving their trash behind are cited, and we don't give them their deposit back. They've been really working very, very hard, our park police, and I'm sure you've heard about it. That's about it, unless Warren has
and
any.
the final thing on the Agana pool.
That's either me or Vince, but I just signed off on the work request for the Agana pool.
Great, and I think we're in permitting phase. I hear we're waiting for Waterworks to clear plans.
Vince, you have an answer to that?
Yes, we're finalizing their issues with Waterworks. We will have the bid out the first week of November, and we've informed them that they need to get with what our requirements are and what our standards are and what our needs are for the pool. And they really should know that. I think that the issue here might be we're dealing with a new engineer over at Waterworks, but we'll get over that. Be that as it may, whatever the case may be, we told them and we've informed them that we will have a bid out by the first week of November.
Wonderful, very good.
The bid is basically ready. The scope is ready. It's been prepared by our consultant, Am Orient, who did the assessment for the pool, and so it's ready to go. Once we address those Waterworks issues, then they should be able to sign off on that.
Great, Warren, did you have something?
Yes, thank you, Governor. I just wanted to touch base on a situation that happened yesterday with the football team practicing at Adloop. There is a permit issued to Southern High School. I'm in support of them practicing there, but when I issued this permit to them, I made it very clear that when it rains or there's standing water, to please protect the grassy area and not wear cleats and tear the area because it's used for ceremonies and other functions. Yesterday I did receive a photo and complaint, and I sent our park police down there, but they had already ended their practice. I reached out to the vice principal as well as the athletic director and asked them if they can have them cease and playing football when it is rainy and flooded down there, only to protect the grounds because they use the cleats that dig up and rip up the grass. Today I was in contact with the athletic director and I asked him if possible, if he can arrange a meeting, and then I'll try to get some of the agencies to see, and we'll do an assessment on their football field. Apparently there's a sinkhole in the middle. I don't know how big it is or what the current condition is, but I think if we can assess that and possibly do something to fix that or fill it up or do something there, I think they can get back to utilizing their field in due time. So I'm going to try to work out that with them in the coming days and weeks.
Okay, thank you, Warren. Okay, finally, we're going to move to Chelsea over at the Guam Department of Agriculture to talk about the very new dog population management task force, and among any other updates. Chelsea?
Hi, thank you so much, Acting Governor. So the stray dog population management task force is a convening of stakeholders ranging from the Brigadier General at Anderson Air Force Base, our office, local veterinarians, and nonprofit organizations. We held a meeting, it was about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Since then, we've recruited members of that task force to sit on a subcommittee to work on refining the rules and regulations, addressing the trap, neuter, release component of our rules and regs. Our territorial veterinarian, Dr. Turner, has already provided an updated draft for the committee to review. The lawyers for Anderson Air Force Base have been drafting an intergovernment agreement, which will allow them to provide both financial support and manpower support for our efforts to remove at least or spay and neuter, and also in some cases euthanize about 60% of the stray dog population within the next 2 years, so that we can see an actual impact and dent in the stray dog population around Guam without creating what is called a vacuum effect, where you remove the dogs and then other dogs just move into their place. So instead, we will work on spaying, neutering, and then releasing what are considered community strays that are the friendly ones, and so that they don't create that vacuum effect. To date, the SNP program under the Department of Agriculture and Game has spayed and neutered over 6,000 owned pets since its inception. And our animal control officers are now sitting at a population of 5. And they continue to work with our community residents in responding to animal complaints and issuing citations for those who are not in compliance with the current laws. Our forestry division had a proclamation signing for Fire Prevention Week with the rest of our firefighting brethren, and as well as Arbor Day being launched, or Arbor Month, I'm sorry, being launched yesterday, or 2 days ago at the Guam Museum, with the planting of a brand new, or the very first arboretum at the Guam Museum. So we encourage people to go out and take a look. It's an area that has been designated for native trees, and it looks really beautiful, and it'll be beautiful in the next coming years as the trees grow. But it's Guam's first arboretum, and they have a schedule of activities of tree planting events for the month, to include tree planting with Harvest Christian Academy, the Magalahan Harao Charter School, as well as other urban planting events.
Excellent. All right, Mayor Hoffman.
Chelsea, is it possible, we get this during the SNP clinic and stuff afterwards, a lot of them, and then even for the people who didn't go to the SNP clinic side, is the correct leash.
The for 421 bi-weekly, correct?
Mayor Bob, can you go up? Go ahead. Go ahead, Mayor Hoffman.
If you can, either there's a way that you can show the proper leash, correct leash, or there's a company that's willing to make leashes and give it away to people who can. Every time we approach people about leashing their dogs, they're like, I don't want to get in trouble for, strangling them or having them hang themselves, or, so if there's like a proper way to educate, but if there's a company that wants to, put, United Airlines or whatever else like that on the side of it, or give leashes away to people, that you give the mayors to give people so they can properly leash their dog. So then that's one way. We always get people asking, you know, what's the correct way, Mayor? They don't know if it's the harness, if it's just the choker, is it, you know, they'll put a collar, but then the collar doesn't have a way to leash the dog because they don't know how to properly do that. So, you know, a lot of them are not, you know, the most educated in terms of owning a pet, but they really like having the dog. They're willing to leash it. They just need to know where to get the leash. They don't have that kind of $20-$30 leash. That's the humane version of it, or, you know, so that's something we can work on and figure out how to sponsor, or maybe get people to group together and give that out.
Absolutely. Dr. Turner and her team have been holding as frequently as possible the responsible pet ownership events that they bring out to the villages. So I will talk with Dr. Turner about including that information, and hopefully they'll be able to find a sponsor that can provide some of those leashes as well.
And maybe if you can come up with a fact sheet so that the mayors have it when the SNP clinic is gone. You had some data, and maybe at our next meeting, which will be in December, we'll maybe broadcast the video that we saw from the was it the International Animal Humane Society? I forget the organization, but kind of talking about there's a, for me, what the video taught me was, you know, it allowed me to really refine my view about, you know, really where the source of the abandoned animals, or actually more, I'm not sure they're abandoned animals as they are community-owned animals that seem to be out there. But maybe we could do that in December. But could you give us, Dr. Turner Gain gave us some numbers at the meeting. I'm not sure if you have those on you, but I thought that they said that they had 6,000 dogs came in through their shelter. I wasn't quite sure what the period of time was. Do you have any of that data?
I'm sorry, I don't, not right here.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and get that gain data so we could, they reported it, kind of giving us a situation report from, you know, what their operations are, and maybe we can report on at our next meeting. All right.
And you can also give leashes to Rob, because a lot of the homeless have pets. They don't leash them, and they wish they had pets. They always ask, Mayor, can I get a leash? So it would probably help the homeless to have the pets that they use for protection. So we can help leashing some of those.
Yes.
Sounds good. All right. Any other questions or any other items?
Just for Austin, Austin, are you still there?
He is.
Yes, Mayor.
I know you guys are doing the murals around. You didn't talk about that. You're doing a great job with the murals. How much more murals do you have, or what's your timeline, or where you're going next?
I think we have about at least 5 or 6 left. They're all getting scheduled to get unveiled. Right now, the challenge is getting them done between the rain. So we have to start and stop. But yes, we have quite a few more murals to complete in the next month or two.
Awesome. They're great photo spots. People really like it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and hopefully we finish that Sinahanya one shortly. I think they're just waiting for the lift to paint a little higher.
Okay. Any other items? If not, Rob, do you have the next meeting date for us?
Next meeting will be Thursday, December 12th.
All right, Thursday, December 12th at 11 a.m. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you.